small, nimble, agile board that can indeed do extraordinary things. What we look for are entrepreneurs who have an enduring value system, because at the end of the day, a successful entrepreneur has to demonstrate austerity, has to demonstrate strategic intentions, has to demonstrate leadership by example, has to put together a team that has complementary strengths, etc. So almost every one of the investments that we have made, we have based it on the value system of the entrepreneurs.
You know, since you talk about how the value system of the entrepreneur is so crucial to your putting your money into that particular investment, and whether it's your VC portfolio, it's your public market portfolio, you harp on the fact that you want to bet on entrepreneurs that you can trust. Which brings me to a problem that we're faced with in India today, and I think Uday Kotak very eloquently in a recent interview to me said that the problem that India faces today is that nobody trusts balance sheets. When you're faced with that situation, how do you decide to put your money into what seems to be a company where you believe that the entrepreneur should be trusted?
Well, I think I can understand Uday's discomfiture. However, in our case, there is no balance sheet when we go in. We support entrepreneurs who, from an early stage, angel funding, and then early stage, Series A, etc., mezzanine, etc. So therefore, the primary ingredients that we look for in an entrepreneur are the following. One, whether that person has an enduring value system. Second, whether that person has an idea whose differentiated business value to the market is far superior to other ideas. And then whether he or she will be able to put together a team with a complementary strength and a common enduring value system. These are the issues that we look for.
No, you make a fair point that when you put your money into a company, their balance sheets are yet to sort of mature in any significant way. But is this a problem that you see in general? The fall in corporate governance standards across India, the fact that people are now saying that India would enjoy a corporate governance premium but is now starting to enjoy a corporate governance discount. Is this something that is worrying you today?
Yeah, given that we have had some incidents amongst well-known listed companies, it is indeed a very genuine worry. Somebody like you who has a much wider perspective of corporate India than I do, certainly you have every right to be somewhat worried. But we must all realize that corporate governance is all about maximizing shareholder value while ensuring fairness, transparency, and accountability to every one of the stakeholders. Whether it's customers or employees or investors or vendor partners, government of the land, and the society. Now, if these entrepreneurs conducted themselves with an admirable level of good corporate governance, then customers will like them, there will be repeat business, good employees will join them, good investors will invest more and more in them, the government will look at them with sympathy, etc. And most importantly, if they earn the goodwill of the society, then every one of these constituents will definitely be kind to them. So therefore, corporate governance principles will have to be followed right from the beginning, just as you and I want our children to follow the good values, I mean, be you, your brother, sister, whatever it is, and be from our children, right from their birth. Nobody says, no, 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 you become a well-established company and then follow corporate governance. I don't know of anybody. It's like saying, no, no, you finish your degree, you start your job, and then you start your values. So that doesn't happen.
No, you're absolutely right. It has to start pretty much from the time that you lay the seeds or plant the seeds of your venture. But what I want to ask you about what we're seeing within the Indian startup ecosystem, we've come a long way. There's a lot to feel very positive, very optimistic, very confident about. And I'm not just talking about the number of unicorns that we have, because especially in the media, we tend to obsess about billion-dollar valuations. But there is a lot more to the Indian startup ecosystem than just that. What I want to ask you, though, from a regulatory perspective, and we've seen a fair degree of friction and tension between the government as well as startups on issues like angel tax. Now, do you believe that this is an issue of trust deficit and that mindset that continues to weigh on the regulatory architecture that shackles and constrains freedom?
No, and my own discussions with senior level bureaucrats and politicians tell me that they're all very sympathetic. The problem is really not at that level. They are well-intentioned. They want India to become stronger and stronger. They are all very, very enthusiastic. However, what happens is, we are an oral culture. We are not a written culture. We don't believe in writing our rules and regulations in a way that there are no doubt, that there are no possibilities of misinterpretation. Therefore, unfortunately, at the lower level, where the standard of English and perhaps in some cases the standard of Hindi also is very poor, they tend to misinterpret this. For example, nobody should confuse capital with income. I mean, that's a very fundamental issue that you have talked about zillions of times. But even today, that is an issue at the level of the field level tax department. So you can't tax capital like income. That is a big issue. The politicians have been very sympathetic to this industry. The senior bureaucrats have been very, very sympathetic. However, we have to communicate the intention of the politicians and the senior bureaucrats in an unambiguous manner to the lowest level.
Okay, so you're saying that it is more an issue of interpretation at the level of the income tax officers who assess these various cases. But let me ask you a separate question, because along with the clarification that the government has put forward, addressing the concerns raised on account of Section 56, and we're still awaiting clarity on Section 68. But one of the other measures that's been announced is also to try and unlock domestic pools of capital, which have so far been missing. You're smiling, sir. Are you not feeling confident about that, or do you believe that we're finally going to see that happen?
You know, Shereen, you know that I am the chairman of the Committee on Alternate Investment Policy Advisory Committee of SEBI. This is one of the biggest issues that we have been talking about for a little bit of time.
For many years now, yes.
Yeah, for many years. And you see, about 90% of the capital for the venture capital industry, you know, for startups, etc., they come from foreign capital. Only 10% from India. Now we are saying, look, if I as a foreigner were to put $1 in your company today, I don't put it for my health. I put it because I want to take $2 or $3. No, this is a huge loss of foreign exchange to the country. When the dollar-rupee exchange rate is going down like it has been, you know, I mean, we all know it used to be 50 a few years ago. Now it is 71 or whatever it is. So what we are saying is, please enable domestic pools of capital, domestic pension funds, etc., to invest freely in venture capital funds. That's something that we are discussing. And my own belief is that given the mindset of the officers, senior officers, and the politicians in this government, I do believe that it will happen.
You're hopeful that it will happen?
Yes, I'm very hopeful.
With the clarifications that the government has announced recently?
Well, you know, there will always be discussions. There will be some fine-tuning required, but it will happen.
Okay. The other thing that we've been waiting for, and again, work has gone in to make sure that we, in fact, move towards that for the last few years, is an IPO from the Indian startup ecosystem. We've seen very, very few and far between. You're smiling again, sir. Do you feel hopeful that we're going to be on the cusp of seeing an IPO pipeline being prepared now?
You know, I mean, there have been a lot of movement towards allowing companies which are making losses to have IPO. I personally don't understand that, okay? Because I've come the old-fashioned way. Our view was that we would go public in 10 years. We founded the company in 1981. We wanted to go public in 1991. Finally, we went public in 1993. But our view was very clear. We have to have a very clear 5-year plan where the revenue will grow at better than average industry growth rates, where our profitability will be better than the average industry profitability rate, and that is the time for us to go public. So therefore, I don't understand this whole issue of saying, no, even if you're making losses, you go public. I don't know. I don't understand that. They may be right. I don't know.
What else don't you understand about the way that startups are operating today, sir?
No, I think...
Do you understand the kind of cash burn that a lot of them are seeing?
You know, no, I understand today it is a lot more competitive. It is not as easy as it used to be when we founded Infosys, because at that time, the main bottleneck we had was friction to business from the government side. A lot of it has been removed. However, today, market is the main determinant for success. So therefore, to succeed in market, you will have to spend a lot more money. So therefore, I fully understand if there is need for capital for startups, unlike when we were in the initial stages. However, there has to be a mindset of austerity. There has to be a mindset of getting best value for money in everything that we spend. There has to be a sense of alacrity that we will indeed provide good returns to our investors as quickly as possible. That I don't know if it exists.
So you don't know if that exists. You're feeling hopeful that we're likely to get there in the next few years?
I think so, because I have always believed that the younger people are much smarter than I was. Therefore, there is no reason why they will not succeed, because after all, they realize that, you know, that they will be respected even more if they become profitable at the earliest. So there is clear incentive for them to be so.
Do you believe that there is too much emphasis, and perhaps on account of investor pressure as well, to chase revenue and not enough to chase profitability?
You know, you know me, Shereen. I mean, you have been a frequent visitor to Infosys. Was there one day when I said, top line is important to me, but not the bottom line? For me, bottom line is the most important entity, most important parameter for the success of a corporation. Naturally, if you want to increase the bottom line significantly, you also need top line growth. So therefore, I need top line growth. I am not satisfied just with top line growth. I want even faster bottom line growth.
That is the bottom line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You put it better than I would. Yeah.
Let me ask you, sir, because if I look at the number of investments that you've made, the VC investments are sector agnostic. They're essentially focusing on finding differentiated solutions from the medical devices space to the healthcare space to education to offline payment, insurance. I mean, those are the bunch of sectors that you've put Catamaran's money into. What excites you about the sectors that you've decided to bet on?
You know, a lot of people that I know of, and even in my family, they make fun of me that I am a sucker for education, higher education, that I have tremendous respect for highly qualified youngsters. Our medical devices staff is, the entrepreneur is a SCD from MIT in chemical engineering. He was a gold medalist at IIT Madras. Our Hector Beverages, Neeraj, is from Wharton, and I am Calcutta, top ranking student. Then Sridhar, who is in the education entrepreneurship. He's from IIT Kharagpur, and he did a wonderful PhD from Johns Hopkins. So
the prerequisite to get your attention is to either be from IIT, IIM, MIT, Stanford, Wharton. That's why you draw the line, is it?
No, I wouldn't say IIT or IIM.
But most of your investments are IIT, IIM, MIT, if I look at that list.
Yeah, they must have had a good education with them, because I have always believed, I'm the son of a teacher, and what my father used to say, what my teachers used to say is, if you want to do consistently well, then you have to be disciplined, you have to be focused, you have to work hard, etc., etc. And you have to be reasonably intelligent. These are also the attributes that you would need to be a successful entrepreneur. So therefore, I don't see any divergence between my appreciation for highly educated people and the attributes of a good entrepreneur.
Okay, they conveniently marry together. But let me ask you, Mr. Murthy, in the universe, in the startup Indian universe today, are there stories, which are the stories that excite you? Which are the stories that you look at today and you feel that this could be another Infosys, this could be another TCS, this could be an enduring, stable, profitable organization?
No, I don't want to take any specific company name, because that will be unfair to others. First of all, I am nobody to pronounce my judgment. That's not right.
It's your opinion, sir.
No, I think that is not right. However, what I would say is, this is a country which has enormous opportunities. Why? Because it has enormous problems. For example, we have perhaps the largest number of people suffering from non-communicable diseases, which is blood pressure, or hypertension and diabetes. Now, hypertension happens because of consumption of sodium chloride. You know better than I do. And diabetes happens because of consumption of sugar. I mean, once you're prone to diabetes. Anyway. Now, if one of our entrepreneurs can find a simple solution to reduce the impact of sodium chloride, I mean, there are some simple solutions, potassium fluoride is one of them. So I'm saying, if our entrepreneurs can come out with simple solutions for these diseases, I think this country will benefit tremendously. And number two, people are ready to pay for it. There is enough number of people who value this. Similarly, water is a big problem in this country. So if we can work on producing potable water based on recycling at a very inexpensive fee per gallon or fee per liter, whatever it is. That again is a great opportunity. If we can reduce the amount of carbon in our fuels, cities like Delhi, you would be able to breathe better, right? So I think there are, and then if we can come out with a mechanism whereby people can stop honking in this city when they are waiting for the car ahead of them to go further, I think all of us will have a little bit of peace of mind. So there are lots of possibilities, there are lots of opportunities in this country for good ideas. So that's what I would say.
Yes, there's plenty of problems that require scalable solutions. But let me ask you a question, which I'm sure a lot of people in this room who are looking at commercializing their products and services are probably grappling with as well. How do you build a global product or a global services company? Because that was your aspiration when you started Infosys more than 3 decades ago. What would your advice be to the entrepreneurs who are looking at a fiercely competitive, not just domestic market, but also a very fiercely competitive global market? What should they be watching out for? What should they focus on?
I tell you, right in the beginning, as you know, Infosys has always been very good in strategy, in strategic thinking, in long-term thinking, right from the beginning to this day. So what we said then, and I believe it holds good even true, is you must be in an area where either you can grow revenue or you can reduce mandatory expenses. Or, in other words, your idea must play a role in making the corporation grow its revenues or reduce its cost, and it should not be in an area where it is desirable to have. The moment you say that my product is desirable to have, automatically your opportunity comes down. So that's one. Second, we do not understand B2C. We have never been in B2C, therefore we don't understand B2C. There are lots of youngsters who understand B2C much, much better than I would. We have always focused on B2B because we felt that selling is easier and more inexpensive if you focused on B2B. And because the number of customers is small, the per unit sale price is large, and the cost of sales and marketing is low. That was the second aspect of our strategy. The third aspect of our strategy, right from day one, was that we have to have a significant part of opportunity from exports in our portfolio. Why? Because by having a multi-country portfolio, you would be in a position to mitigate risk due to the macroeconomic factors in a given country. Next, we said by focusing on exports to developed world, we will be in a position to provide better quality solutions to even the Indian customer. So these are some of the issues that we wrote down right in 1981 May in my apartment in Mumbai, along with my 6 younger colleagues. And I think by and large we have followed it.
Let me, towards the close, ask you this, sir. And I would imagine that you perhaps have new lessons to add to what you had earlier anticipated should be the rules that founders must incorporate as they try and leave behind a legacy and a lasting organization. How do you future-proof an organization from its founders?
No, I don't know if I have a solution for that. I think I would be the wrong person No, I don't think so.
You don't believe that that's the need, or do you don't believe it's possible?
It is definitely the need. People like you should be in a better position to give a profound lecture on that than on me, because I have failed. So therefore, how can I advise? No.
But as you look back at this issue, sir, and you've just candidly admitted that this is an issue where you failed. What is it that you believe you could have done differently, or would have liked to do differently to see a different outcome or a different result?
No, I don't think I'd like to get into any discussion on that. But the important thing is to ensure that the board of directors do not create governance deficits. That is the top line. That is what we should all write down. Everybody here should write down. Now, beyond that, I don't want to say anything.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Murthy, as you look at this room full of young hopefuls who are at different stages of starting up and scaling up, what is the biggest mistake that people often make between starting up and scaling up? If you can share some anecdotes from your own experience, and what would be the big takeaways that you would leave this audience with when it comes to actually scaling up?
No, I mean, Infosys was an intellectual debating society.
But you always had the final say.
When you have a fellow like Mohan, when you have a fellow like Nandan, when you have, all other guys, they're funny. There used to be so many arguments. And we came to the conclusion after these debates took place. So by and large, in an enlightened democracy, you avoid serious mistakes. As Amartya has often talked about, in a democracy, you will not have a serious famine because there is always an opposition. And that opposition holds the government to accountability, and therefore, at the end of the day, everything will be fine. At least there will be minimal damage. Similarly, at Infosys too, by and large, we avoided any serious mistakes as long as we were all together, okay? Now, therefore, I don't know if I can give a lofty lecture on that. However, whatever little that I have observed amongst entrepreneurs that we have dealt with, I can say one or two. First is a person who is extremely good in a technical issue must realize that he or she will have to bring an expert in sales, second, an expert in finance, an expert in operations. If that person wants his startup to scale up. Because the most important requirement for any corporation at any point of time is sales. Second is finance. So unless you have a good salesperson, unless you have a good finance person, I have not seen any organization scale up well. That's number one. The second thing that we have noted is that a lot of time, people try to spend more and more and more time in fine-tuning their product. When they reach the point of diminishing returns. This has happened in so many cases. So I would tell all the wonderful people assembled here that they should release their product, their solution to the market when there are no showstoppers. Don't worry about too many desirable to have features. As long as you have all the must-have features, as long as there are no showstoppers, then please release it to the market, because customer is the best person to give you feedback. I would say that these are two very important principles that I have observed from the array of entrepreneurs that I have dealt with.
Okay, those are good tips that I hope that you're taking in here from Mr. Murthy. But I'll end then by asking you, sir, what excites you today? What excites Narayana Murthy as he gets out of bed every morning?
Well, I think over the last 5-6 years, or 10 years maybe, the country has developed a certain level of self-confidence. Sometimes it has, people have become overconfident sometimes. But I think these things happen in any country. Today we are very confident in our entrepreneurship. Today we attract a lot of money for startups. Today our entrepreneurs are very, very confident. Second, even in the area of sports, our team plays so well. Bollywood is doing a great job. So wherever...
What was the last movie you watched?
That's a good question.
I know you catch up with movies on flights.
Yeah. No, I do. I go with my wife. I have forgotten. But I am saying, I say that in every field around me, the youngsters have tremendous self-confidence. They have a great view of the future. They have that can-do spirit, will-do spirit. I think that is something that is very, very good for the country. This did not exist in the 80s when we were younger. So I think overall the country is full of ideas, full of confidence, wants to take on the world. I think but we must make sure that we don't become overconfident, we don't become complacent, and we retain a sense of humility. Humility with unexpressed self-confidence is always good.
Well, that is the perfect note then to end this conversation. Humility with unexpressed self-confidence is the perfect attribute for an entrepreneur or for any leader in any walk of life. Narayana Murthy, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening and for sharing your thoughts with us.